Hi, thanks for talking to me. I watched the movie last night. I enjoyed it. Well, to start out, how did you get involved in Clear Cut?
So my cousin was a first AD on it, and they had an actor drop out very last minute, and I got a phone call from my cousin saying, "Can you be in Duncan tomorrow?" And it was just one of these things where it's like I was like, "Yes, absolutely." It was a very small part in the movie that turned into a bigger part because the director liked me and he added a few days and added some scenes and what were supposed to be like phone calls where the guys on the phone with somebody became scenes. There was like a lot of like him just going like, "Hey man, what are you talking about? No, we did this." And it turned into me and Clive doing our thing, like actually doing scenes. It was awesome.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
people who haven't seen it, why don't you talk about Jason or Jacob? Jacob. My brain isn't
Jacob.
working today. Sorry.
Yeah, so Jacob is like I mean, this was like a year ago that we shot this thing, and I haven't seen it yet, so I'm gonna have to try and
So I'm ahead of you there.
yeah. Jacob was he's a drug dealer who shouldn't be in the position that he is because he's not really made for it. And he's Stephen Dorff's basically his right hand. And Clyde has managed to get into being my kind of guy because he's managed to be undercover enough that he's become my like kind of main point person, and I'm the person in between Stephen Dorff and him. I catch wind of him being a cop. Stephen Dorff's character tells me to kill him, so I try, and the tragedy happens where the his daughter gets murdered. And I go into hiding. Steven Dorff basically takes me and goes like, he's like, you fucked this up. So you're just gonna be stuck up in a mountain and watching the mountain, making sure that my meth lab doesn't like blow up or something. And so I'm like, he's got this whole system of like, rangers and people up there. And like, he's kind of like, he's acting as if he's like a park ranger or something or a sheriff or something. And it's all part of his cover to cover his meth lab. And so my character is just kind of hates his life, was once a pretty successful drug dealer in the city, and now he's stuck in like some Firewatch tower, and he's a complete coward. Like he wasn't made for this. And so when Clive finally finds me, it's you think that it's like he's climbing this mountain having all these fights, all these like savage battles with all these different characters. And we actually had in the script a serious fight. Like it was like he's no slouch. Clyde hits him with this, and then Jacob comes back with that, and like they had all this stuff. And then I pitched to Brian, the director. I was like, "What happens if he just ragdolls me? Like, wouldn't that be funnier?" And he was like, "Oh." And I talked to Clive about it, and he was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, that'd be great." And so
I was gonna say it's
basically,
sort of a fight, not much of a fight.
it's not a fight. And I thought because I was reading the script and I was looking at him, and he's fighting like Tom Welling, he's fighting what's his name? Who's the other guy that's I know Lachlan Monroe's in it. Who's
Now
who's
that
our
you said that, I won't remember his name until I look.
yeah, right.
Jesse Metcalf.
Metcalf, yeah, and he's fighting Jesse Metcalf. He's fighting all these guys, and they're all giving him like everybody's like taking their pound of flesh, and he's giving just as good as he gets. And he's just like just hobbles his way up to the top of the mountain, and he finds me, the guy that he's been looking for, and I just go, and he just starts slamming me around. Uh, that was kind of our choice to make it funny and ridiculous, but then we had this scene where I wake up. Do you remember I don't know if it's in the movie still. Do you like pancakes? Do you remember that part where
Yeah.
I
In the
that's in the
last
movie
scene when he's talking, yeah, because he's telling him about what happened. Yeah.
to my character, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
very brief, but yeah. Because he says
That he
she and
improvised
then
that.
starts the bacon thing or whatever he says.
Yeah. So I do. Yeah. I mean, I can only tell you from my perspective of what we shot, but basically, and I don't know where Brian took it, how he's edited this movie, no idea. But from my perspective, we had kind of a scene. We had talked about some dialogue. we were like, yeah, I want to bring up my like daughter and stuff. And I was like, cool, man, do it. Like, and I'm game to improvise. I'm great game to ad lib. And Brian was totally allowing us to do that. And Clive, I like wake up from like being knocked out and I just come to, and Clive's sitting there with a bottle and I'm like bound and like I see my hands are tied. And then he just looks at me, he's like, you like pancakes? And my actor brain goes, oh, he's going somewhere. And I went, yeah. She loved pancakes. And I was like, oh God. And it like broke me. Like I
Sorry
was
to
so
hear that. Yeah.
it freaked me right out. And then after the take, Clive was like, oh, was that too much? Was that weird? Like, I'm sorry, we didn't talk about that. That just kind of came out. And I was like, oh no, man, that was great.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
It probably was not really comfortable for you though, because you're taped up for
No,
half of it.
no, none of it was comfortable. Yeah, like that, him improvising, it being so last minute. Um, I know there was another guy, something happened with the other guy very last minute, and I kind of showed up and I was just this like actor who was like basically my cousin, I love him very much. Will said to Brian, he's like, you need an actor. Call my cousin, showed him a picture of me, and Brian went, can he act? And he's like, yeah, he can. He's like, would you bet your life on it? And he's like, yes. And so I show up and he's like, do good, man, because I
Yeah,
bet
because
my
we're
life
gonna get
on
yelled
this.
at now.
And what was supposed to be 2 days turned into like 6 days or something because I did exactly what was expected of me and more. And it turned into just being this fun kind of adventure on the island, shooting this crazy little action movie. And like I was never supposed to be in that shootout scene where the cars pull out or peel down the road and like tail whip and then I pop out of the car and the guy gets lit on fire. Like I wasn't supposed to be there for any of that, but like Brian dug what I brought to it. Um and I kind of got this script and was reading it the night before I flew out to Duncan because I said yes. I was like, yeah, obviously I'll do it. And he's like, my cousin was like, can you play this character? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, he's a park ranger. I'm like, cool. And it's like he's a park ranger that gets in a fight with our lead. And I go, thumbs up, 100%. Then I got the script, and the script has all these like lines of like, I didn't know, man. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. And I'm like, the fuck? Like he's a park ranger? And I'm like turning the page, and
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
there's a lot more going on than him just being some schmuck on the top of a mountain. And it was great. It like I brought life to him because that's kind of what I do is I bring like I was like, oh, he was a drug dealer. He was this. Like I made all these choices and like, the 24 hours that I had, I brought them to Brian. Brian was like, yeah, 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 man, that's the guy. That's exactly what's there. It's just not on the page right now. And then it ended up that it was like, well, they want to add you to a bunch of stuff. And I went,
Good to hear that. I'm sure
oh
makes
my
you
God.
feel good.
I
Is
mean,
that
right when times were the most tough with that stupid strike. So
yeah. Is that common that they let you kind of do what you want, add to it, or is that not common? I guess it
uh,
depends on the director. I just
yeah, I mean, any good director will. I mean, okay, so there's like the different schools of thought. Like you think of like the Coen brothers, who, if you read the script or Quentin Tarantino, Coen brothers, they write this script, and from the initial like table read script, that's exactly the script
what
that
they
gets
expect, yeah.
right. That's exactly they want to see it word perfect and all that. And I too believe word perfect is super important, especially for like really, really well written stuff. And then there's some stuff that just kind of is like you get what's on the page and then do your own thing. And that like that's in there's a those like kind of improv realism comedies that come out that are all about that.
Mhm.
And I think it's kind of nice to do both. Like I like theater a lot because theater, you have to stick to these scripts that are like 60 to 300 years old,
Yeah.
and you can't really ad lib your way around them. But then sometimes when you're just in the moment with somebody and they're like they say something or they look at you a funny way, and you're like, if your dynamic is you're the boss, you have status over them, and the actor that you're working with looks at you funny. It's like, what the fuck are you looking at? And like, that's a little button to a scene. If you don't follow your impulses and they don't allow that, then you just miss out on these beautiful little moments.
Yeah, I'm sure it makes it a lot more interesting. I mean, I don't know, maybe sometimes it might make it harder, but I think it would make it better. Usually, not always. I mean, sometimes, you know.
Yeah, I will say, had Clive not come up with that "Do you like pancakes" line, the scene would have been on the page, very simple. You did this. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. He made me. But it turned into something really weird and scary. And again, I don't know how it was edited, so
No,
I'm
yeah, it looked good. Although I'm not sure how he got up after he was shot as many times as he was.
yeah, he's kind of a like a real punching bag in this movie. He's like the dummy that just keeps popping back to life.
Yeah, definitely. Um, is there something other than your cousin calling you and telling you there's a job? Is there something you look for in particular, whether when you decide whether you're going to do it or not, or does it just depend, job to job?
Yeah, job to job. I mean, I don't like stuff that's like if it's a bad guy, like if it was fuckface, um, there's like an element to that where he's evil
Hmm.
with a purpose. Like he's the Joker of that TV show. And I find like to play like really evil, mean-spirited, cruel people, there has to be kind of an element of like we're using this for a point. And
Hmm.
sometimes I see shows that do and I've turned down things where it's like the guy that's like bad because and
Yeah,
well, yeah, it's like
mustache twirling has no point. Yeah.
or like getting in. Oh, this is my cat. Hey, go.
Aw,
This is my cat.
so cute. What's its name?
Goblin. She's a hairless cat.
She's cute.
Yeah, I don't like stuff where they use like, the bad guy to kind of just show those like really dark things in society for like shock value.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like I read for a pedophile in a show a few years ago for a show called Bones of Crows, which is all about indigenous people in Canada getting put in residential schools. And I'm like, oh yeah, like if I'm gonna play a pedophile or read for one, it will be for a story that tells a story of like, people that suffered.
Yeah.
And like, that's the story that needs to be told. But then there's like, every now and then they hint at like something where it's like there's a character that has a pedophile element to it. And for like, just like shock value. And I'm like, no, I won't. Especially with a daughter. Like I won't just do
Yeah.
that. I won't do that without like a serious, like there's a message here. There's something to be told here. Um, the way that I found my way into fuckface was like all the dark shit that he did. It was like gratuitous on purpose
Yeah.
because this show was fantastical.
Yeah, I was gonna say that a lot of that show was gratuitous. So
Yeah, a lot of gratuitous, but also like, it's like it's punk rock, it's expletive. It's like it's
yeah.
it's made to like kind of make people go, "Whoa." Like the whole show is kid getting his hand chopped off, like, the whole show is just like it's a shock value show and that like, you keep watching scenes in that one and you go like, "Oh, this show is so punk rock." So, that's how I was like, "Oh yeah, I can do all this stuff. I can fuck a goat. I can like keep people in cages and like as sex slaves. I can torture Brian Posehn because because it was so fun to watch Rick Remender, the showrunner, pick on his buddy who like said yes to doing a TV show.
Didn't know about it. I forgot about a lot of the stuff he did.
He's
He
so
did
good.
quite a bit.
He did. He did so much.
Yeah. Do you have like a dream role that you would like to do if you got the choice?
Um, I'm self-proclaimed want to be a cowboy. like self-proclaimed in the sense that, or something that's like, that's so period and specific, like, or like fantastic, like Lord of the Rings or something, where you get like e- a school for it,
Mhm.
like you get, like I got really close on Planet of the Apes,
Oh, that would
and
be fun.
yeah, it would have been amazing. It was like the second one, I think it was, and I went and did the movement audition with Terry Notary, and like that would have been my jam, like, a month of ape school, and just like something where you like feel like you're going into something, like doing like a period piece Western where you like go to like horse school and gun school, and it's like you have to look like you know what you're doing, and or like, the Rings where you're like what Viggo Mortensen did, and it like you learn Elvish, and like, learn how to ride a horse and fight with a sword. And I feel like I love I love acting, and I love storytelling, and I love kind of, being helping facilitate stories, but I really, really think like a dream role for me would be something where I have to engulf myself in the world of it, and the world is so far away from my normal life. And I don't mean like something like Suits, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna learn to be a lawyer, uh, or a doctor or something. I want something that's like
Totally
so
different.
so different and wild that like my friend was in a show, I don't think it ever got made, but Edward Norton produced a show about
Oh,
Lewis and Clark. He said he went to like like they went and did like frontiersman camp, and they learned how to like weave fish traps, and
mhm.
like learn how to build fires, and all this stuff. And I was just like, and he was kind of not complaining, but he's like, it was really hard. Like that was a lot of work, and oh my God. And
That's
I
what you
went
enjoy, that kind of stuff.
I was like, oh my God, if I was sleeping in a tent for a job, that would be so cool.
That's fun. So let me ask you, I know there was nothing like that in Clear Cut, but was there anything that, because it sounds like it was a lot of fun, but was there anything that you did find difficult at all with that?
I think for the first like 20 minutes of like walking onto the set, there was a little bit of an energy of like, you weren't the guy, or actually it was probably like an hour of like people being like, hi, how's it going? And I was like, yep, I'm that guy that just showed up, like didn't read for this, didn't know anybody, didn't, just kind of got in. Um, that was the beginning. And also the show was so hectic that like there was no room for people to be super friendly and caring. Like the people that
Right.
the costumes and hair, makeup, and everything, they were lovely and so nice and everything, because I don't know, they weren't on set during all the mania. And when I did show up on set, like Brian's running camera and running around, and like gears going this way and that, and it was kind of it was like not indie, but it was like definitely a lower budget film, and there's just no room in everybody's time to be like, "Hi, Tom, thank you so much for doing this." Plus, it was a very masculine set, so like I walked in there, I was like, "Oh, nobody's here to like kind of pat you on the back for doing your job. You just showed up, great." And I thrive in that kind of an environment, so it's kind of like bided my time, waited till the camera was on me, pretended to be lit on fire. I got lit on fire. And after that, Brian was like, "Holy shit, man, that was great." And I went, "Thank you." Do you know what I mean?
So there was real fire then? That was my other question. I didn't even know for sure what, you never know for sure. I mean, it looked
It's a trick. It's a light
close
bar.
to you, but it wasn't that close
It's
probably.
it's never that close. Like it's like you're getting water dumped on you as gasoline, but then
But yeah.
the shot is like vis effects and a light bar. So they like bring flames up in front of the camera, and then they vis effects it like kind of going everywhere. They like the one that was crazy was Steven Dorff's double in the bomb, the fire bomb, when because you know how he throws the lighter thing, and it lights up the thing, and Dorf gets knocked out of the.
Yeah, I think you were gone by that point.
That was definitely how I died. But I watched it from like 150 feet back, and I watched this stunt guy just got like, it was like, here's the door where he went like he got launched. He did like a leap out on the exact time that the flame went, but like it went higher and bigger than anybody was prepared for. Like the special effects knew what they were doing, but like they're like, so it's gonna be an explosion, and we were like, and then we went, holy shit, that was like an explosion. So yeah, but the guy like launched, hit the dirt, and just laid there, and we like had to wait. Nobody could touch him. I think his back was like smoking and like, licked with flames. And then they called cut, and he popped up, shook himself off, and they're like, "You good?" He's like, "Yep."
Do you enjoy doing stuff like stunts and things like that?
Yeah, I do. I don't do it with an ego though. Like I don't do it with like the sense that um oh, I can do it. I can do it.
Yeah.
Because I train martial arts, I train jujitsu, and I train kickboxing. So I like fighting a lot. And if I can get in and do my own fights, I will. But like some of my best friends have doubled me on shows. And I always like pay homage to the stuntman, pay that respect that is owed because those guys work so fucking hard. Uh, what's the new movie with Gosling? Fall Guy. Yeah, just like, you got to respect what they do,
Yeah.
and you can't get in the way of that because like, they're just trying to get seen. They're just trying to get their chance. I got my chance. I already said my lines like, 4 hours ago. Now we're doing the big, ratchet, and um rather than having me go, "Oh, can I get in the harness and do it on like a low grade version of it so you can see my face?" I'm
Wants
gonna
to look great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to the guy that like they brought in who's like hungry and wants to get slammed against a tree. But yeah, like you gotta pay it to them. And like if it was like a director being like, "Can you do this?" I'd be like, "Yes, 100%." But if it's a coordinator being like, "You don't have to do this," I'll be like, "Yeah, who's here?" It's like, "Oh, Colby, yeah. You got Colby here? Yeah, let's do it."
That's cool. Yeah.
Because like I know those guys, I know a lot of them, and I know that they like also like be like training fighting in Vancouver. They all train jujitsu, they all train Muay Thai, kickboxing, capoeira. Like we're all kind of like in certain circles, and like we all know each other outside of the industry. So
Makes it nice.
yeah, it's good, and it's also really awesome to see your friends succeed in that. Like also a lot of stuntmen that I know after like getting hit by a car will come up to me and be like, "Man, how do you do that? How do you do that thing where you're like acting? It's crazy."
And to you, that's probably the hard thing.
And I'm like, "Yeah, that's
That's the
how do
easy
you
part.
get hit by a car? Let's talk about that."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta do it right and do it safe. But yeah, that's cool. It's good that you know a lot of them, you get along with them. So
Hmm.
do you have another, I don't know, I'm just what it says on Internet Movie Database, 13th round? That's another new thing you have coming?
Oh, 13th round. So 13th round is a movie that my buddy Ryan Robbins, have you
Oh,
seen?
I know him.
Yeah, you know Ryan.
Mhm.
So he originally was talking to like originally they shot a short film a few years ago, and it's about a boxer who's lost use of his legs, uh and he opens his own gym and kind of like assists people who want to try and do adaptive boxing, which is actually fighting from the chair. And his old rival in boxing comes and meets him and he has been kind of like wrought with Parkinson's, and he says, "I want to fight you." And he's like, "You want to fight the guy in the chair?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I want you to train me on how to box with Parkinson's, and I want to learn how to fight from the chair." And they shot this short, and it was beautiful. And Ryan was playing the guy in the chair, and my buddy Bradley Stryker was playing the guy with Parkinson's. And then a few years later, Mike Trainer, who's the director of this, he got a grant to shoot this film. And so he had written a feature version of it where it's actually the story of, it's loosely based on a couple people. One of them is Leo Samarelli, who was a professional boxer who got shot by the police in a mistaken identity case and lost the use of his legs, and now assist people in being like, he's trying to get adaptive boxing into the Olympics, into the Paralympic Games. And I now am playing kind of a version of
Amalgamation.
him, yeah, amalgamation of him and this other guy that became paralyzed and started to box from the chair, who lives in Halifax, where Mike Trainer, the director and writer, is from. Bradley Stryker, who was the guy with Parkinson's in the short, is now playing
The other one.
the coach that's actually shows me how to fight from the chair. I like lose the use of my legs, and then uh I go like, well, my life is over. And this guy goes, why? And he challenges me to keep pushing forward and to try and like get back to who I was before I lost everything. And a beautiful, beautiful story. It's been sitting in the edit mode right now. And hopefully it's going to come out very soon. Apparently I'm getting a cut of it very soon, and I think we're going to start doing the circuit, like the festival circuit next year, which I'm really, really excited for, because apparently it's really good. Like the people that I trust that have watched it, they love what we got.
Yeah, sounds good. Do you have
Yeah.
anything else that you are working on or can talk about? I know you have your music too, but is there anything?
Yeah. No, I'm just doing my grind. Like we're in this like kind of post strike.
Yeah, that kind of screwed everything up, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It was kind of going really good, and then everything kind of went do 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 do. So everybody's just trying to get their legs back underneath them. You follow movie set humor, like movie set memes.
No, I'm not sure what that is.
It's an Instagram channel that like is all about memes about set, which is really funny. But if you there's like, I don't know how many subscribers. They have like 1.5 million or something like that. And it's all film people. And you get kind of an insight into how everybody's doing by watching the
Cool.
memes that get posted. And it's weird. Like it is a weird time for film right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's just trying their best to like stay positive and like, grind. But like I know a lot of my friends, not actors per se, but writers who have just kind of backed out of the industry. A lot of crew have kind of chosen to take something that's a little bit more secure.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're in like a
Affected a lot of people.
yeah, this is like if there was a BC, this is kind of an AD kind of thing, you know. There's something that happened with that strike that's kind of changed the landscape. And I don't know, like I'm hopeful. Everybody at my agency is like, all my agents are all like, we're still going, we're still grinding, we're still
Good.
super super enthusiastic, and I'm still in class. I train every week. So uh yeah, it's there's gonna be something coming. I just don't know when that's gonna be.
Okay, well, so let me know when there is. I watch your Instagram, so I'll see if
Yeah,
there's
I will fill you in.
all right. Well, we're gonna run out of time whether I want to or not anyway. So because it doesn't matter. Don't usually run out. But thank you. I
Thank you
appreciate it.
so much.
It was good to talk to you.
All right, well, I hope you liked it. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
I
I
think
did. It was good.
it's out like tomorrow or something, right?
Yeah,
Or is
I
it
think
today?
it's today.
Maybe I'm watching that movie tonight.
All right.
Oh,
Well, now you'll finally get to see it. So,
yeah. All right.
all right. Well, enjoy it and enjoy the rest of your night.